Buffalo Bills are living the kind of start to a season that every fan dreams about. 3 games, 3 wins. And while the rest of the league hasn't even had the chance to finish their third matchup, Buffalo already looks like a team setting the pace. And this latest victory over the Miami Dolphins was the perfect example of why the Bills are not just winning. They're maturing, finding ways to control games, and capitalizing on every mistake their opponents make. It wasn't always pretty, but the scoreboard at the end of the night told the story. Buffalo 31, Miami 21. And with that, the Bills sit at 3 wins and 0 losses, undefeated, confident, and growing into one of the league's most complete teams. Now, let's start with the obvious. Josh Allen. He didn't need to put up video game numbers to dominate this game. He finished 22 of 28, just over 200 passing yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, and another 25 yards rushing. More important than the stats was how he played the game mentally. Miami's secondary was there for the taking, a unit that has struggled all season, but the Dolphins' defensive strategy was clear. Drop into soft zone looks, keep everything in front, and dare Buffalo to dink and dunk their way down the field. For a younger version of Josh Allen, that might have been frustrating. He might have forced a deep shot or tried to do too much. But this version of Josh Allen showed patience, maturity, and poise. He took what the defense gave him, used his playmakers after the catch, and never once opened the door for Miami to flip the game with a costly turnover. And that's what really defined his performance. The Dolphins had their coverage shells in place, dropping back with 2 deep safeties, mixing in cover 4, clogging the middle, and taking away the deep ball. If you're watching the tape, you could see exactly what Buffalo needed. Yards after the catch. Dalton Kincaid gave them that spark. Khalil Shakir delivered the knockout punch. Elijah Moore found space when the team needed a big conversion. And Josh Allen made sure every throw was on time and on target, letting his teammates do the work after the catch. It wasn't highlight reel deep bombs, but it was efficient, it was smart, and it was the exact brand of football that wins tough divisional games. Look at the touchdowns. The first to Dalton Kincaid, a perfect step up in the pocket against a cover 2 shell, ball dropped right into the soft spot, and Kincaid turns it into a scoring play. The second, pure improvisation, Josh rolling to his left, baiting the defender to close down on him, then flipping it to Jackson Hall for his first career touchdown. That's vintage Allen, making something out of nothing. And then the dagger to Khalil Shakir, a short throw, but perfectly placed to give the team's most dangerous yards after catch threat the ball in space. Shakir turned it into 6 points with help from some excellent blocking downfield. 3 different touchdowns, 3 different styles, all showing how versatile this offense can be. Dalton Kincaid deserves a spotlight here. 5 catches on 6 targets, 66 yards, and a touchdown. And honestly, he could have had 3 scores on the night if not for 1 contested play in the back of the end zone. He continues to develop into that reliable, chain-moving tight end who can hurt defenses both underneath and after the catch. Elijah Moore added a few key plays, including 1 massive 2nd and 16 conversion late in the game when Buffalo absolutely needed to move the sticks. And then there's Khalil Shakir for grabs, 45 yards, and the critical touchdown that finally gave Buffalo the separation they had been hunting for all night. But let's not forget James Cook. 19 carries, 108 yards, another touchdown, plus 3 receptions. For the 3rd straight game, he cleared 100 yards from scrimmage. That's back-to-back 100-yard rushing games, and already 4 total touchdowns on the season. He has evolved into not just a contributor, but a star running back in this league. This is a player who entered the NFL with questions about whether he could handle being more than just a change of pace back. Now, he's the focal point of one of the most balanced rushing attacks in football, running with vision, breaking tackles, and showing he can carry the load week after week. He's been explosive, consistent, and everything Buffalo hoped for when they invested in him. And credit goes to the tight ends and the heavy personnel sets. Those 12 and 13 packages with 2 or 3 tight ends on the field are creating extra gaps, stressing defenses, and opening up lanes for Cook to feast. This isn't just a product of blocking, though. Cook is generating yards after contact, bouncing off defenders, and punishing tacklers. He has completely changed the dimension of Buffalo's offense, giving them a reliable ground game that perfectly complements Josh Allen's efficiency through the air. On defense, the play of the night came from linebacker Terrell Bernard. With just over 3 minutes left, Miami driving inside the red zone, down by 7 and threatening to tie. Bernard stepped in front of Tua Tagovailoa's throw and picked off the pass. It was the game-sealing moment, the defensive stand Buffalo needed, and it once again showed how this team always seems to find that one big play when it matters most. Bernard didn't just have the interception. He added a pass breakup, a tackle for loss, and several strong run fits in a game where the defensive tackles struggled to hold their ground. He was everywhere, proving once again that he's becoming a cornerstone of this defense. That said, not everything was flawless. If there's one frustration, it's the inability to really slam the door on Miami earlier. Buffalo had multiple opportunities to stretch the lead to 2 scores and control the game script, but mistakes and missed chances kept the Dolphins alive until the fourth quarter. The sequence before halftime was the perfect example. Stalled drive, missed field goal, and then giving up a long possession to Miami that tied the game and killed the clock. That was a lost opportunity to bury the Dolphins early, and it forced Buffalo to play a tighter game than necessary. And then there's the third down defense. 11 conversions on 16 attempts for Miami, including several long yardage situations, is not going to cut it. Yes, Buffalo held them to just 21 points and under 300 total yards, but when you're constantly allowing opponents to extend drives on 3rd and 4th down, you're putting yourself under pressure. The pass rush wasn't good enough, the coverage wasn't sticky enough, and too many times Tua had the time and rhythm to find his playmakers on the perimeter. The Bills' defensive front simply didn't dominate the way it should have against a banged-up Miami offensive line. But even with those frustrations, this was another game where Buffalo's maturity showed. They didn't beat themselves. They stayed patient, avoided turnovers, and waited for Miami to make the mistakes. And sure enough, the Dolphins delivered costly penalties, roughing the punter, and of course the interception at the end. That combination of discipline and opportunism is why Buffalo is undefeated. It's not just about explosive plays anymore. It's about playing smart football, trusting the system, and letting their opponents crack under the pressure. The Bills now sit at the top of their division with a perfect record, looking like a team that can win in multiple ways. They can beat you with Josh Allen's arm, they can run the ball down your throat with James Cook, and they can rely on a defense that bends but finds a way to make the critical play when the game is on the line. The Bills may have walked away with a win, but there's no hiding that this game also exposed some cracks that need fixing if this team wants to keep its momentum going deep into the season. One of the biggest frustrations was how often Buffalo let Miami hang around. The Dolphins were gifted life at points where it looked like the Bills could have delivered the knockout punch, but the execution wasn't sharp enough to finish the job early. Before halftime, Buffalo had the chance to extend the lead. Instead, a stalled drive ended with a missed field goal, and suddenly Miami took that gift and marched down the field on a long 16-play drive that tied the game. To make matters worse, they chewed up nearly all of the remaining clock, leaving Josh Allen without a chance to answer back before the break. That's the opposite of complimentary football, and it wasted what could have been a pivotal double-dip opportunity with the ball at the end of the first half and again to start the second. The second half began with hope when Buffalo found the end zone again to reclaim the lead, but the offense immediately cooled off. 4 straight drives between the two teams ended in punts, including a pair of short, ineffective possessions by Buffalo. This was where the Bills could have tightened their grip on the game, created separation, and allowed their defense to play with comfort. Instead, the margin stayed razor-thin. Credit to Terrell Bernard for the interception that finally shifted control back to Buffalo. But the fact is the game remained too close for too long because the Bills failed to string together enough productive drives in the middle quarters. Against a team more disciplined than Miami, that kind of lull can prove fatal. And then there's the story of third downs. Over and over again, Buffalo had Miami in long situations, 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 9s, sometimes even longer. And somehow the Dolphins kept moving the chains. 11 conversions on 16 total 3rd and 4th down attempts is simply too much to give up. That's a sign that the pass rush isn't doing its job and the coverage isn't tight enough on the back end. Miami's receivers had too much room to operate along the sidelines, and Tua Tagovailoa, given just a little bit of time, is accurate enough to make those throws all day. For the second week in a row, the Bills weren't generating consistent interior push. They missed the disruptive presence of Ed Oliver, and Greg Rousseau has been far too quiet through 3 weeks. Consider the circumstances. Miami was forced to play with backups across its offensive line, including a replacement of the replacement at right guard, plus a rookie at left guard who had been bullied in previous games. And yet Buffalo still couldn't get home. 34 pass attempts for Tua, not a single sack, and only 1 quarterback hit. That's not just underwhelming. It's alarming, especially for a defense that prides itself on depth in the trenches. The secondary can only hold for so long, and when the rush doesn't force quarterbacks off their spot, it becomes nearly impossible to cover speedsters like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. This is why the calls for reinforcements are only growing louder. Fans want to see more of the new additions, more snaps for guys like Daquan Jones when healthy, and even more creative rotations to light a spark. Reps have to be earned, and so far some of the big names haven't been earning them. If Buffalo wants to take the next step defensively, it has to improve its situational football, and that starts with collapsing the pocket on money downs. The numbers are too clear to ignore. Holding opponents to 21 points is fine. Holding them under 300 yards is fine. But if you can't get off the field on 3rd down, you're asking for trouble against elite competition. Special teams also had their share of shaky moments. The very first play of the night was a gut punch, as Miami returned the opening kickoff to near midfield, setting up their offense with a short field and chewing up nearly half the first quarter. Later, the missed field goal from Matt Prater was costly, keeping Buffalo from controlling the script before halftime. There was even a scary muff punt by Tyrell Codrington, thankfully recovered, but it's the type of error that swings momentum in tight games. And on coverage units, rookie Dorian Strong struggled as a jammer, consistently losing his battles. While the unit had shined in the previous week, this time it looked vulnerable. One bright spot came later in the contest when Prater nailed a clutch kick to push the lead to 2 scores, essentially sealing the win. That was a high-pressure moment, and he delivered, but overall the special teams weren't nearly as sharp as they need to be. Looking back on the predictions heading into this game, the results were a mixed bag. There was hope that wide receiver Josh Palmer would grab his first touchdown in a Buffalo uniform, but he was quiet, only 1 catch for 5 yards. The expectation that Deion Walker or TJ Sanders would notch their first sack also fell flat as the pass rush disappeared. Khalil Shakir came close to the 50-yard receiving mark that was projected, finishing with 45 and a score, but not quite there. The 2 correct calls came in the form of Terrell Bernard's interception, Buffalo's first of the season, and of course, predicting the win itself. 2 out of 5 isn't perfect, but considering the flow of the game, it reflects just how unusual some of the circumstances turn out to be. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In a stunning turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, quarterback Mitchell Trubisky reportedly announced his departure from the Buffalo Bills, leaving fans and analysts alike scrambling to make sense of the situation. Sources close to the team suggest that Trubisky's decision stems from mounting frustration and a sense that he has simply reached his limit. The announcement, though not yet officially confirmed by the Bills, has ignited a whirlwind of speculation about what could come next for both the player and the franchise. Trubisky, who joined Buffalo with high expectations, has had a roller coaster tenure marked by flashes of brilliance and bouts of inconsistency. The quarterback's candid statement about his limits hints at deeper tensions within the team, possibly related to coaching strategies, locker room dynamics, or the pressure of performing in one of the league's most scrutinized markets. NFL insiders are already buzzing with theories, and the rumor mill is spinning fast. Some speculate that Trubisky could be seeking a fresh start elsewhere, potentially as a starting quarterback for a team in need of a veteran presence, while others wonder if this move signals a mid-season shakeup within the Bills roster. The timing of this announcement is particularly intriguing. Buffalo has been positioning itself as a serious contender, and the sudden potential exit of a key player could disrupt the team's momentum. Fans have taken to social media, expressing both shock and concern, as debates rage about whether the team should attempt to retain Trubisky at all costs or begin scouting replacement options immediately. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, aware that a player of Trubisky's caliber hitting the open market could shift the balance of power in unexpected ways. While the details remain murky, one thing is clear. The NFL landscape may be on the verge of a dramatic change. As whispers of Trubisky's departure grow louder, analysts are already considering the domino effect this could have on the league. Will Buffalo scramble to patch the gap with another quarterback, or is this the beginning of a bold, strategic overhaul? For now, fans and commentators alike can only watch, wait, and speculate as one of the season's most explosive rumors continues to unfold. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.